make schools and teachers do things too quickly, and then they're not done well, and they're not done with staying power.
The question that I wanted to ask both of you is, how do we make sure we maximize what feels like a moment in time when more and more people are talking about the science of reading? What is the best way to make sure this doesn't feel like just another swing in the pendulum, if you will? In one way, I love this idea of pairing up practitioners with research and researchers with practitioners. But Emily, I'll start with you and then shift to Tiffany in terms of, from your perspective, what are the next steps? What can we do to make sure we maximize this moment in time?
Well, it's a difficult question for me because I am a journalist. And so I feel like there are questions I want answered, and I have a way of going and asking questions and getting information and then putting it out into the world. And I care about what happens to it, but I feel like I don't really have a role in directing it per se. I mean, I know that I do end up sort of directing it somewhat because I talk about it and then I follow it up with other work. So there's a direction in that flow. But I don't know. I feel like this is out of my lane in some ways. This is up to other people who are the advocates, the teachers, the people in the classrooms to figure out what to do exactly. I have concerns. I have a big concern that everyone will look back 10 years from now and say, oh, well, that was the big thing in 2020 and 2021, 2022, 2023. And that didn't work. So, I am worried that we do things in education. There's a lot of push and pull in education because education is so important. And there's a sense of urgency. And there's a sense that if we understand that there's something we need to do better or differently, we need to do it right now. And that's important because kids are only 6 years old once, right? So urgency matters, but urgency becomes part of the problem because people just do things quickly. They get a grant and they have to figure out a way to spend the money fast. They have to implement something in 1 year or less. They have to learn this in 2 weeks. We make schools and teachers do things too quickly, and then they're not done well, and they're not done with staying power. And we have so much turnover in the field anyway. And I think all of those things I just said increase the turnover, right? They are part of the reason for the churn. So I don't know. If I had a magic wand, I would make everyone feel absolute urgency about this, but I also will be like, chill out, slow down, and do it right. And then, right. As we've been talking about this entire podcast, exactly what it means to do it right is not simple. And I don't even, there's not one, this is how you do it. This is the thing to buy. This is the training to get. This is all much more complicated than that. So this is complex stuff.
So that's the next question is, how do we do this, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And Tiffany, your thoughts?
I've been thinking about it in kinds of three prongs. The first one is in the research that we do, and this is a shift in thinking through translational research and implementation science. And it gets exactly what you said, Emily, about this feeling of need, but also it just kind of ebbs and flows. I think we have to think about the word sustainability. Everything we do, when we work with our school partners, I'm thinking about how's this going to transition once the grant's over? Once the work is quote unquote done on my end, what have I done to create something sustainable in the systems? And it's usually that system level approach that creates sustainability. So I think sustainability has to be on our mind. And it's exactly what you said, Emily, in terms of not looking back and going, well, we did that great thing and nothing was sustained. And I think there are some really important decision points we can make along the way that create sustainability. And that leads to my second guidepost along this way. And that is to really raise the voices of those who are on the ground with those kids. I mean, I am lucky and have the privilege of being a scientist who has a voice in this dialogue. And I want to use that privilege I have to raise the voices of my education partners. Again, right in line with what you've done, Emily, in your reporting, is just really bring those voices forward. and really bring those stories forward. And the third one for me is to just encourage, myself and scientists around the science of reading to get uncomfortable. It's a very uncomfortable position to go out there and spend a day in schools. And it's really comfortable to sit in my office and write grants and research articles, even to write for practitioners can feel quite comfortable. But what's not comfortable is really opening myself and the research I do into the really hard truths that are going on, and then creating grants that step outside of the traditional approach to science and really do implementation science and do it with partners. It's very, very difficult. One of the things I've been doing is trying to write articles with my educational partners, and that's something that's not often done. So those are the things I've been thinking through, but it's complex and it's going to take a long-term, sustained attention to the problem.
Let me just say one thing. I think I'm hopeful about this because I think there are so many parents and teachers who are really starting to get this and who really care and see. I don't think the pressure is going to go away on this one, because I think that so many parents and teachers have had their eyes opened. So I'm hopeful in that way. I hope that's good. I hope that is good. I hope that's sustained pressure that will lead to sustainable outcomes.
Fantastic.
Absolutely. I love that concept of sustainability in the partnership with researchers and practitioners is just so critical.